I just broke the mic
Oh no.
from the bottom stand thing.
Boo.
I'll just hold it.
You're just going to hold it. Welcome to Just Trust Me, the marketing podcast that calls out the winning and wily ways of today's marketing. I am your host, Rachel Moore, and I'm in cahoots, usually with two fellow marketers. Last week, one of them was here and the other was not. This week, the other one is here, then the first one is not. I'm here with, that's right, but I'm here with Tanya Ballard Brown. Hello, my darling.
I know y'all were talking junk about me last week.
We just said you ghosted us, but we also figured you had important things going on, which you always do. So we knew it was not out of malice.
And the clock got away. I looked up and I was like, that, and we changed our day to record. So that's the other thing. And so I wasn't even thinking about it on Tuesday. And then when I saw the message in Slack, I was like, oh my God.
No, super fair. Your muscle had been developed for Wednesdays and then we moved to Tuesdays. And so, yeah, it all went fine. And it kind of tracks anyway. Like we said, our third partner in crime, she's on her way to Ireland with her family. So we were pontificating before we started recording about Ireland and UK and London and everything, but she's going to have a blast and she should.
And for a wedding too, like that's got to be like gorgeous. I just actually watched some Lilo movie where she goes to Ireland and her wish is granted by somebody. Anyway, it was very beautiful, the pictures, the visuals of the country and the green. And so.
I mean, I would imagine going to a wedding there too, because, you're basically going to someone's party where they're letting you enjoy everything and all the local things. She did mention, this actually correlates to marketing a little bit. She mentioned that they're going to go to the Guinness storehouse where her husband's looking forward to a pint right from where they make it. I will call out Guinness is genius because this was years ago. It was over a decade ago. But my husband and I, we did stop in Dublin. We went to the Guinness storehouse, but Guinness has a podcast that you can start listening to at the center of Dublin. And it takes you through chapters and it guides you through landmarks on your walking path on the way to the storehouse. And
that's cool.
It's so cool and it was made for people like me because I'm like, I don't give a shit about Guinness. Because I was
just
like,
about to say, I don't drink beer. I don't like it and I don't care.
Yeah.
But I do like history and I would take the trip and go with other people if they wanted to go and drink Guinness. So,
yeah. And I was very, this is my husband's day, whatever. But that podcast reined me in. You learn about how the Guinness family is so integral to the history of Dublin as well as Ireland at large. And you just see like, now I know more about what I'm looking at. And by the time we got there, I was legit interested. I'm like, tell me more about how you make this thing. I don't want to drink it. And I didn't. But by the way, another quick marketing tip, if you are going, I bet she didn't do this, but whoever in your family does love Guinness, make them a shirt that says, I will drink your free pint of Guinness. And then because you get so many people like me who go and they take a sip and then you're like, I don't want any more. Well, you have this whole fresh pint of Guinness.
Whole pint. The pint, like in the pint glass thing?
Yeah, no,
everybody. Is it a growler?
It's not a growler, but it's like it's a tall glass of Guinness.
I have one, I think, because I got it for something that I did and they gave out. I have one of these. So yes, I know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. No. I never drink beer out of it, so I don't think of it. But the more you said that, it's reminding me that's exactly what it was for.
Yeah, it's a lot of beer. And my husband, he didn't have a shirt, but I said, next time we go, I'm going to make you one. I bet they wouldn't let us wear it in there. They'd probably be like, you can't do that. Be like, well,
you never know.
You never know. Anyway, waxing on about Guinness. But today we're going to talk about some marketing things. First thing we're going to talk about is the WWDC. What does that even stand for? I feel like such a knob. I know I looked it up, but it's like the Worldwide C. And people I work with are probably going to be like, you are so dumb right now. No. Worldwide Developers Conference. Sorry. But apparently Apple was there. And this was like the big talk. And it's not just about developers. We are going to get into marketing about it. But basically Apple announced they have a partnership with OpenAI, which creates ChatGPT. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we are going to ask the question, good marketing, and we're going to talk about dragons on the tops of buildings, more particularly the Game of Thrones dragon on the Empire State Building. And then we're going to go to We Got, how at least one of us fell for some wily marketing. So we're going to tackle all those things while we sit over here in the United States and our friend is enjoying her flight over to Ireland. But all right, as far as the Worldwide Developers Conference, WWDC, which was last week, it was, everybody wants to hear what's going on with Apple. I know Apple announces a bunch of stuff all the time. The big news out of that last week regarding Apple was the partnership between OpenAI and Apple. And so, Tanya, are you an Apple or an Android?
I'm on a Mac. I have fact. As we're talking, it occurs to me I should silence my phone, my
your
iPhone. I had
iPhone.
already done it. Some part of my brain remembered to do it already.
Nice.
I have on my Apple Watch. But I will say I never cared one way or the other. It was when I was married. My ex-husband was very much into all the Apple stuff. So he just transitioned us over and I liked it. And so I've just stuck with it. I can use Android products and that such, but I like Apple stuff. All my stuff is Apple, so I just stick with what I know.
All right, this can't be true. Because I was just Googling, my Google prompt was, what percentage of consumers use Apple versus Android? One of them came up and said Android has, and this is can't be right. Maybe it's global, 70.69% of the market share. And I was
No,
like,
that's true.
is that true?
Because okay, yes, that is true, Rachel. Because I declared it. So, some part of my brain remembers conversation saying that Apple has all this marketing and such, but in terms of market share in other countries, particularly, and maybe their market share is growing, but previously because you couldn't jailbreak their things, they weren't open source.
Oh, sure.
Other countries, it didn't have the dominance in those places because I guess they just like didn't care so much about the
Security
cachet
part.
here.
Yeah. Yes. So I pulled up Google results, served me up backlinko.com, but it says 2024, as of early 2024, Android had a 70.69% market share worldwide. In the US, though, here we go. iPhones hold a market share of 60.77%.
Yeah, that I can believe. I think for people who are like gamers and coders and stuff like that, they aren't so much bothered with Apple stuff. But for the average user, the person like me who's just clacking on the Slack with my friends and
That's right.
I don't even like use. I'm one of those people who has an iPhone and I don't have music on my phone. I don't want all that on my phone. My phone is for texting and saying, "Hey Siri, like what kind of cherry like I don't know, you know what I'm saying."
I'm
My
waiting for your phone to
phone,
go off.
right, or it's to text or whatever. I don't use all its capabilities, and probably most of us don't.
Right.
And for that, Apple to me is more intuitive,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm guessing for that might be here what gives it the cachet. But if you're like, you really, most of the people I know who don't bother with it are people who, again, I say gamers, but also people who are techie and just know back-endy kinds of stuff. And they're like, nah, I'm good. So
Yeah.
there you go.
I was gonna say I'm techie, but I'm not back-endy. I'm an Android user, but I know, especially working in social media marketing in the United States, I just run into so many people where it's like iPhone is preferred. There's this whole like back and forth about it. But I thought it important to bring up because obviously this relates to Apple products and iPhones and a big part of it. And I do have we'll link to this in the show notes, but pulled up like a Forbes article about what this means. So it says Apple announced cut a deal to use OpenAI's ChatGPT in its AI programs. The deal itself came at no cost to Apple. And on the surface, it looks like a great deal for them.
Nothing is for free.
Nope.
Facebook was free, and then they sold all our data. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? Nothing.
Exactly.
X, formerly known as Twitter, free. They sell your data. Like, okay,
Exactly.
Apple.
Yeah. And so what's going to happen is on Apple devices, obviously including iPhones, you're going to be able to query your data and shift to asking ChatGPT for information from a worldwide database of sources. So it seamlessly integrates into Siri and other services. But it's the free version. So let's clarify that. It is the free version of ChatGPT. It's not the paid version. And
Oh, for
OpenAI.
like cheap people like me, because I use the free version because I mean, I've used Chat GPT like a handful of times. I haven't used it enough where I see there's any value to me in spending money on it. I'm also
Exactly.
just cheap.
Well, same. Yeah, I'm all like, I remember looking at the cost of it too, and I was like, "That no, I will
I
stick
don't
with
even
free."
remember because I didn't bother to look because I knew I wasn't paying for that. But I mean, if
Nope,
if
nope.
it turned into something that I thought I was going to use regularly and consistently, I might consider it. But
It's $20 a month. Yep,
see,
that was a
listen, I
no.
don't even want to pay for iCloud. Like for years, I was an early Spotify adopter, right?
Mhm.
I just started paying for it in like 2021 because they gave me a free thing for months and months. And then I was like, oh, I actually like the paid,
Yeah.
the things I have on the paid version. And I
Mhm.
broke down and started paying them for this service. But I am a freeloader. Sorry, world. If you
You're
give
like,
me a
"How do I
free
get the"
option, I will make it do what I need for it to do. And whatever else it can do,
Mhm.
I don't know. So I'm not, what am I losing? I don't even know.
I know, exactly, and I'm the same way, didn't wanna pay for it. So, it is the free version that'll be available integrated as what Apple is calling Apple Intelligence,
Mhm.
which I just someone pointed out today, OpenAI, Apple Intelligence, little play
Mhm.
off the acronym there, and so but here's the trade-off for OpenAI, they now
Can I
have dir
opt out of this? Do I have to? I mean, is it
that's
like
I would
on my device
I
no
think
matter
you
what I want?
can. Let's see. It's they made it very simple to move from querying one's data and shift to asking ChatGPT for information.
The
Your
intern
dog is not liking that.
the intern is raising a hue and cry about this.
That's right. She's like, "No."
I thought I took away all the distractions, and yet
Yep, she's like, "Nah." So another aspect of this, Apple got OpenAI to agree not to log any of Apple customers' queries without asking permission, so it protects privacy. So there seems like I'm sure that comes with some
did
that's
you
a
hear
mixed
me
bag.
teeth suck?
Yes, the ASMR, like, no, that's my reaction. That's your good reaction because it's like, oh, sure, sure. It was interesting to me to hear about this too, because knowing what you just said, Apple does have that security aspect to their devices where harder to hack, probably definitely not possible, but you're more
Yeah,
secure. You
harder,
feel
but not impossible for sure.
your privacy and your data and all that stuff. Meanwhile, yes, let me go incorporate ChatGPT, and we've all seen that run amok. I mean, I think we talked about don't go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, write a press release for me about this secret thing that's happening at my
Right,
company in like 4 weeks." And now it's part of ChatGPT data and it's
right.
no longer a secret. So mixed bag. Yeah. But I love your point. You asked right at the gate, can I opt out of it? I don't know. I maybe, probably. Maybe you have to, switch over and say, yes, I now want to look at ChatGPT. And I imagine you're probably not going to do that.
I mean, science is probably they're probably going to make it an opt out thing. That way,
Mhm.
everybody has it, and
Yeah.
they accomplish their goal, and you have to because most people are just slightly too lazy to be bothered.
Mhm.
And so they'll probably make it an opt out thing. Now, hopefully, they'll be very transparent about that. And so those of us who are like always, skeptical and looking squinty eyed, like,
Side eye, raised eyebrow.
right, can opt out. But I mean, they're so, at this point, I mean, you do the best you can, but I just, it does get tiresome too because
Mhm.
it feels like you're being hit from every
Yeah.
front to get your data, which, okay. But why that matters is because financial information and other stuff is out there and people, the dark web and people stealing your
Mhm.
stuff and, making problems for you. And so,
Yeah. Well, and I wanna bring it up too because, I mean, just today, might as well be every day. I think anyone working in marketing has the AI conversation all the time nowadays. I mean, not only are you probably talking about how do we tie in our stuff to AI? How do we I mean, dude, I know from what your work is, my work's the same where it's like, how can we crowbar, we love to use that term in here, crowbar AI, crowbar this thing into this thing from an SEO standpoint. Yeah. And I've seen so many memes and posts mocking that truthfully, where it's like
mhm.
everybody trying to figure out how to figure out AI and get it into your content. But on the flip side, from a content creation standpoint, I definitely use AI and I don't use ChatGPT, but I use an AI tool. which is more premium and something our company, or that my clients pay for. I pay for Descript, which has AI tools in it. I use it to edit things like this podcast. And so does Elizabeth. But it will do things for you, get you from blank page, right? To get you to say, hey, not only can I get you from blank page and brainstorm with you, but you can also say, hey, but can you brainstorm with me? If I give you a link as a source, I want a social post about this particular blog at a link. Can you give that to me? And it will do it. So I'm curious too about the marketing aspect of it. From, Apple, obviously from a tech and marketing standpoint, saying, hey, we're going in on AI and here's what we're doing, using this very well-known, AI resource out there that just about everybody knows. It's a household name. So now we've got two household names in their cahoots.
You do point out, because like Googling something, like that's a term, it was their company's name. It became a term. Yeah. And the same thing for Chat GPT. I think a lot of people, anything AI related is Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Right. Even if it has nothing to do with Chat GPT, that they did something AI. So it was chat. They use Chat GPT, or they're going to do the Chat GPT, or what about the chat thing?
Or let's get on a Zoom, even though you might be getting on a Google Meet or something. It's like, nope, I'm going to get on a Zoom. Or
exactly. Exactly. Just how some of those things, people adopt them to describe the act. They adopt the company name, the brand name to talk about the action that brand performs.
No, exactly. So it's interesting all around. I'm looking forward to see how it plays out, and there's all this conjecture about it. And I guess, you brought up X. Elon Musk declared, if Apple integrated OpenAI at the OS level, then Apple devices will be banned at all of my companies. And I'm like, good luck with that. Though I know he's got some global sites too, but he's not even paying rent anywhere. So who the fuck cares? But I just don't even care what Elon Musk says anymore. And I'm not shy about that. But interesting. It was a big rage, obviously. And they obviously went trendy viral with it because everybody was talking about it. But I'll be curious to see. You'll have to report back with your Apple device and let us know what that experience is like. And if it does let you just be like, no, thank you very much for perpetuity.
Listen, I just probably in the last year started using Siri more. Like I am a person, and that's because my former regular date was who would use Siri and Google for all the things, right?
Yeah.
But voice prompts. And was the person that's like, let me Google that. And then I'm pecking out on my phone. And I felt like an old person.
No.
So I was like, I can speak to my device. It's right here. There's a tool there. And I would say, blah, blah, blah. And I use it more now, but I'm not a Luddite. I don't want to say that. I'm just these new technologies can be great and helpful.
Until they're not.
Right. And I like to just see for a minute.
We don't have a smart speaker at our house. I don't use Siri at all. I've used the Google, because, Google's got its own, hey, Google. I hope it doesn't do anything.
I know, that's why I didn't say it. Because I was like, between my phone and my watch, one of them is bound to.
Right. But I don't even use that. I'm just like you, and I'm Gen X. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'd love to hear generationally people talk about like, no, we totally talk to things.
Listen. Former regular date is a boomer, so it's us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's us.
That's right.
But that's okay, because we aspire to Golden Girl status anyway.
That's right. That's right. God, someday we're going to do that podcast.
Right?
We will do it. I just need someone to advertise on this one, and then we'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So please advertise on this podcast so we can do our Golden Girls podcast, because, and yeah, we have to do that. But yeah, anywho, we'll see what happens. AI's around. AI's not going anywhere. Will it take over? Will it become SkyNet? Probably not today, maybe not tomorrow, but Apple's fine with it. So, but that was talking about that whole WWDC, like WWDC, Worldwide Developers Conference, which, again, I learn things every time on my own podcast. So I'm glad we talked about that. But we're going to go to a break and we'll be right back. Been thinking about using an AI-generated headshot on your LinkedIn profile? Remember the lessons of the Willy Wonka experience and why bait and switch isn't the best way to get new connections to trust you. If your LinkedIn profile could use a good dust-off in the right ways, I've got you. Connect with Rachel Moore on www.butwaitthere'smore.com/contact to get started with your LinkedIn profile review. But wait, there's more, MOORE.com. And we're back. And now we're going to move into the good marketing ? Talking about, and this, again, originated with you, Tanya, because you started posting in our Slack channel, like, was this good marketing? Now, I came across this one, but it was very timely because what show just came out this last week that everybody's watching, apparently?
House of the Dragons. Then you know what? That's not the name of that show. What is it?
You just know there's House.
I watched this show. I have it queued right now because I need to watch the series again. And I, for the life of me, don't know why my brain does not want to give you the
House of the Dragon.
Yeah, I knew it was House and Dragon was in there somewhere. House of the Dragon. Yes. House of the Dragon.
All right. And that is the prequels of the Game of Thrones saga. Is that correct?
Because it's like 170 or 200 years pre Game of Thrones.
Okay. I know you were so nice about like saying, well, Rachel knows the lore of this. And I laughed because I know we have a sidebar chat going in Slack about it with our buddies. And you're like, hey, what do you know? I'm like, oh my God. This goes back to Ireland, actually.
I knew it was somebody else in that channel that had a deeper knowledge.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. My knowledge stops. Like I went to Belfast for a work trip, and a coworker of mine said, hey, we're going to go on a Game of Thrones tour on the last day. Want to go? And I said, sure. So in about 14 days, I used emails to sign up for free access to whatever, I guess it was HBO or whatever, that would let me watch, 7-day trial. I got through as much of the series as I could of the TV show.
In 14 days. How far was that?
I got, oh gosh, where did I get?
Did you ever finish the series?
No. I didn't.
Finish?
No, I didn't. And I didn't finish the books either. I did read the books up through part of the 4th book. But that's as far as I got.
Bother with the books. But you know what? I'm not into like fantasy books. I don't mind the fantasy shows.
Well, and I will say, oh my gosh, you know how you see those people who do like the pin boards and they like connect,
yes, the murder boards. They call them murder boards. Let's just be honest.
I needed a murder board for the characters because I was reading the books and I'm like, okay, who the fuck are you? Who is this again? Which storyline am I in? Who are you? And I had to keep going back and be like, oh, okay, you're this. And part of it too, I wasn't reading it every day. I was like reading like here and then I'd let a stretch go by and I'd read it. But anyway, I barely know the lore. I know some of the cool parts of the first 3 books, and that's all that sticks to my brain. But we all know dragons, House of the Dragon, dragons figure heavily into Game of Thrones. And then thus, because I believe this focuses on you're going to have to say the house name, the family name, because I don't know their last name. What
Targaryen?
House is Targaryen or Targaryen?
Targaryen.
Okay. Targaryen focuses on their house, right? Their clan, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay. So on Twitter, on the Twitters, oh God, I guess on the X, whatever, I shared this with y'all. So apparently there was a 200 and people in New York right now are like, we know 270-foot installation of, I don't know how to say this, Vhagar,
yeah.
Vagar the dragon on the top of the Empire State Building to celebrate season 2 of House of the Dragon. And how did you react when you first saw that picture?
Oh, I was like, this is so cool.
It is really cool.
I looked up. I mean, I feel like even if you don't follow the shows, it's still cool to see this big old dragon like wrapped around the Empire State Building, man.
I'll share the link to the tweet for, again, everybody's in New York's probably like, we know. And if you follow this, you've probably seen it already. But I did think I love that kind of stuff. I like when, especially, better than a billboard, better than a digital ad, and it's obviously hyper local to New York, but by the selection of the building, it obviously people took pictures of it. It's making its way around the globe. Everybody's, can see it at a quick glance. I liked it. I think it's a really cool way to entice people. I mean, it is fantasy, like you mentioned. It's, it's dragons. obviously Game of Thrones has a gigantic following. So yeah, just drawing people in with just being like, hey, by the way, this is super dang cool, right? And you should go watch this today. But yeah, I like it. I thought it's definitely winning. Obviously, huge budget required for that kind of thing, but I bet they have it.
Well, it's HBO. Actually, it's Max.
Is it Max?
Whatever they are.
But I don't understand. I know HBO and then Cinemax, and it just doesn't make any sense to me anymore. Why do they keep changing? That was a terrible move. That was bad marketing, in my opinion. It was like, let's change HBO because is it called HBO Max, and then they change it to Max?
You know how the record companies used to be all like splintered.
Yeah,
like it'd be. I'm just using this as an example, people. I have no idea if this actually happened. I'm not trying to just, throw dirt on anybody's name, but it'll be Arista Records, but under Arista Records, it'd be like Jack Lee Tunes too, right?
yeah.
But I think that's kind of what the Max HBO something.
When I visit you, I'll watch it. But do you know how the series is coming off? Like, is it getting high reviews or?
So I did watch it, as you know, live on Sunday, and I realized that as I was watching it, because I hadn't gone back to rewatch the first season.
Yeah.
And I had only started watching the last episode of the first season, maybe 30 minutes before the show premiered, just thinking, oh, that'd be enough to refresh me. Well, it wasn't. So then I went back and started from episode 1 of season 1, and I'm in the middle of that. And that is what I plan to do because tomorrow is Juneteenth and I don't have to work. So I don't have to like jump up at 9 o'clock and jump right into work.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, I can watch a couple of episodes of this tonight to kind of refresh me and get me up to date. All that said, I have not really read the responses and the reactions because I'm like, I don't remember what they're talking about, like I did like the funny tweets and such, but I was completely like, oh, I forgot who some of these characters are. I'm like, it's just been too long. And with one season versus Game, which was like 10 seasons, but like at some point you just start to know Daenerys and who everybody is. And I'm still like, wait a minute, this is who now? And whose child is this and why? Who and what? So I was like, I need to go back to the beginning.
Yeah, that's the thing though.
But I do think it's getting a good reception.
Yeah.
Because people were really feeling a way about, spoiler alert, A Son for a Son.
Well, I did just look up Rotten Tomatoes. It's one of the review things out there. Right now, season 2 has a 92% on the tomato meter and an 88% audience score. I have a feeling then it's going well. People like it. They're just glad to be back in that universe, I think, especially since hasn't George not written any more books yet, or he's just made no progress? I
think this is actually source material. This particular is coming from source material. They went way far afield with Game of Thrones, like they, but I think this particular show and season is based on the Civil War. Okay. And it sounds to me like all that's coming from source material.
It says Fire and Blood, George Martin's Fire and Blood. Mm-hmm. See, I'm sure people listen to this podcast and think, God, Rachel, you're dumb. And that's okay.
How can it be that? I don't even know. You're like, I'm not know any of this fine detail.
I just, it's not something I spend a lot of time on.
There's so much television and now, there's so much media to consume.
There is.
And a lot of it is very good.
If you ask me about The Boys, I'm watching that right now. And I can talk about that. See,
so here's the thing. Years ago, when I was a mere child and I was married, my husband was into comics and such, which sparked my interest. Like he had been collecting for years. He had boxes and boxes of things wrapped in plastic, honey. And we had our own box at the comic book store. We even took our engagement pictures at the comic book store. And he was into all of I bought him an issue of Uncanny X-Men, something I don't even remember now, because it was some issue that the first time somebody showed up or all of them were on the cover or something. I do not remember now, but it was like a collector's item because he was into still kind of the superhero things. I was into the indie labels or whatever. So like Judd actually he introduced me to that one, in that particular one. But anyway, Judd, who was on Real World San Fran way back in the day, became a cartoon. He did some cartoons or whatever, and it was his book. He did a little series, and I thought that was cute. It was a little kid who was like really smart, and and these other series, all these indie series, and The Boys was one of the series that I got all invested in. And I remember at the time I wouldn't even read it on the Metro because it was so, the covers were, it was given, why am I even reading this? And but it was also good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when it became a show, it was like that. Oh, that Preacher, Why the Last Man. These were all the ones I was reading, and all of them became shows.
Yeah.
So that I'm always like, I had good taste. But anyway,
Before people did it, yeah.
I tried to watch The Boys, and what had me all sucked in the comics, which are in this house somewhere, was the show was, it was just too much of it. Like, oh, it was
I do know.
one line too far, and I was like, oh, I can't watch this. So
Yep.
I never went. I think I got to maybe episode 3, and I was like, I'm gonna stop watching. I'm making an active choice.
What's interesting to me about you saying that though is the Game of Thrones goes really far.
Oh
too.
yes, I don't even know how there's one scene I will never forget. More than one, and that is actually, I know some other people who dropped out after this scene. They were like, "This is enough for me."
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think by then I was all sucked in. Whereas I had read the comics for The Boys, and when the show started, and I watched a couple, and I was like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
And I had already, I don't know. That's a good question. It's a good question. This makes me want to go back and give The Boy, now with a little distance, I might give it a second.
Look, I made it's in because, and the reason I thought of it too, because going back to the dragon, obviously the show had a strong start. Part of the dragon was part of like reminding people, hey, it's out, go, whenever, and also just keep them on it and binge and stuff. I had heard, and I just looked up The Boys on, I wonder if there's a way to see the seasons. Looks like it on the latest season. Yeah, it's got a 95% rating on season. Is that season 4?
I'm sure that show is great. I mean, they wouldn't have all these seasons if it wasn't
true. But you're right. I posted on Facebook just the other day. I'm like, just when I think The Boys cannot shock me anymore. And don't tell me. I'm not going to tell you. We watched a couple reaction videos on YouTube of this, and I love how they have to blur literally every damn thing out because they'll get dinged, they get demonetized. But it's the second someone in that show approaches a door and you're not sure what's behind it, just know it's gonna be horrific. Like, yes. Or at least just like not even horrific, but you're just like, whoa, eyeballs. Wow, seared into my brain. So I posted like the Phoebe Buffet, my eyes gif because it's that. But same thing with, I still remember, and of course this is a Blue podcast, but I remember in the first episode of Game of Thrones where what's his face, the guy who plays, I love him, Tyrion.
Yes. I knew you were about to say that.
Standing there drinking, and you just hear a sound and you're like, something's happening out off frame. And you knew exactly what it was. And I was like, oh, here we go. And I knew, but then I knew, right? And so, but yeah, anyway, it's obviously both shows have big followings, big on the shock factor, big on the drama and the fantasy, and big budgets. And having a dragon on the top of the Empire State Building is pretty freaking cool. Would love to be part of that marketing team. That would have been amazing to execute that.
Would you go up there?
No.
I'm so afraid of heights. I just can't see me doing it. But
I thought, you know what? I didn't realize. I thought I was fine with heights. And then I went on a freaking zip line thing with like as a team building. And I'm like, oh, I'm not doing this ever again. This is the worst thing ever. And my legs got all shaky. And I'm like, I think I can be up in something if I know. I'm like, there's literally no chance I'm going to fall. Even have you seen those like pools that people have where they're up really like stories and stories high? You're like, and that no was like, yes, I've seen it, and no, I will not. Where people are swimming in literal like they've got like.
I am deathly afraid of heights. I really am. possibly because I'm short and very close to the ground. I like to stay rooted ground.
I
But
don't blame you.
like even to the point where like if there are balconies and such, this is an irrational fear, but I'm like, this could break away from the building.
Yeah. I mean, infrastructure,
And
baby. You
fall
never know.
to right, and I could fall to my death, so I won't be going out there.
Also, anyone who's ever seen Final Destination movies, of course, you're like, there is
Hello.
always that.
And it's so there you go.
That's
So
right.
I'm always thinking about that. And I did went to dinner at the press club with a friend. She took me. She's a member, and we sat. I have been there before for like taco nights and just I've been there. I lived here in DC, so there's any number of events that happened at this place, and you go there. And I had a friend get married there, and I've been there for award things, all this kind of stuff. But I just had never paid attention to this until we sat down, and I realized that this floor to ceiling window
Oh.
on the 14th floor,
Oof. Yeah, that's
and it
high.
looked like we were gonna fall to our deaths, and we didn't move, but I was at this I was over here. I am afraid of heights. I really am.
That is fair. My husband is too. Well, we're going to leave the dragon at the top of the Empire State Building for now, and we're going to take
But
a
if they
break.
take it down, I hope it like goes somewhere where you can go and touch it.
That would be really cool. They should take it.
Like an installation at a museum.
Oh, wouldn't it be cool? We have trains that go through our area. Wouldn't it be cool if it was on a train and like just going, it's like sleeping on the train cars. You'd be there. Oh my God, look, it's right there. I would love that. Sorry. Hopefully they'll take some ideas, give us credit for it. That's like,
yes. No, give me some money.
That's right. Well, we're gonna hopefully get some money, but we're gonna take a break and we'll be right back. You say podcasting, I say trust casting. Whether that makes you think of magic spells or fly fishing, trust casting is the way your business can market your brand and get your customers to trust you. Podcasting, event moderation, LinkedIn profiles. These are the ways we build credibility in today's marketing methods. Start trust casting today with But Wait There's More marketing services. Visit butwaitthere'smore.com to cast trust to your target audience today. All right, now we're back. Final segment of the show. We got Tanya. I've got one to share. I don't know if you have a we got for the last 2 weeks where you fell for some marketing. If you do,
I almost had one.
You almost had one? What'd you almost get got by?
Those shoes that I've posted, those Aerosoles shoes have been following me around the internet and in my email inboxes and on every page. And I'm like, should I buy this shoe? Because they're not going to let me not buy this shoe. They're
going to keep after you
until I buy this shoe. And everything, the price keeps getting a little lower, but they haven't hit my number yet. So as soon as they get to my number, yeah, I got me Aerosoles.
I love it. I'm going to put that in the show notes too. So everybody can opine, be like, either you tell Tanya to get them or you get them for yourself. And, then we can be jealous of you. You can share the pictures. They're very cute. What is it? The Chance Silver Mirror Metallic Faux Leather two-strap footbed platform heel.
First of all, I'm like a cat. The fact that they're shiny, I'm already...
They are cute.
Bought in on that part. And then the little cork heel, I'm like, okay.
That's not a giant heel. What is that, a 2-inch?
I don't know. I like a high heel shoe. I'm not even worried about that.
I can't even relate to that. I don't even know.
Like, I'm afraid of heights, but I will because I want to be close to the ground, except not quite so close because I need a high heel to make me be a little taller.
But it's a chunk heel. That's a nice one. Yeah. It's not spiked, so that's cool.
It's a blocky, chunky heel.
So one of the clients I work for is very generous. My husband's been recovering from knee replacement surgery, and he's the cook in our family. I'm not, but he had prepped us with a shit ton of pulled pork. And so we were having that a lot.
That sounds so good.
Oh, so good. I mean, and I love pulled pork. Oh my God, I love it. But even after day 5, we're like, okay, we need something different.
No more of that. But you know what? What you should do is ship it overnight to me.
I could do that. Or just come visit me and then I will make it for you. Yeah. So what we did, I'm pulling it up right now because I need to tell you all what it is. Okay. So I was gifted a Grubhub gift card, a very healthy amount of a Grubhub gift card, which was super nice. So my son wasn't with us that night. He was working. So my husband and my daughter and I ordered Grubhub, and we got it from 3 different places. It was just very decadent to be like, I want this and you can have that and she can have that. So we ordered from 3 different places. Son wasn't there. So he learned like, oh my God, I missed Grubhub. And I'm like, I will get you Grubhub. He went hiking on Saturday with my father. And I said, I'll get you Grubhub when you get back that night. So he's like, I want to get it from Bojo's. Now, for those of you not familiar with Bojo's, they make mountain pies, mountain pizza pies. And I will again share the link. They are fantastic. And if you have not ever had a pizza crust with honey on it, you should do.
What's a mountain pizza? Is that up the thickness of it?
It's where the pizza itself might not, it's standard pizza pie slice. You can get thin and stuff, but they just make the crust is gigantic and delicious. And I'm gonna go put it in our Slack chat right now.
You're talking to the pizza person. I know everybody's like, this person doesn't like beer. She doesn't care about pizza. Who even are you?
Oh, and that's okay. I think if you were to have how everybody like there's different styles of pizza, Chicago style, New York style, whatever. Mountain pie.
I had Detroit style recently.
Nice. Was it yummy?
It wasn't a bad piece of pie, I have to say.
Well, so he didn't want pizza, but he wanted their mac and cheese. So we've eaten at Bojo's. They have one up in Idaho Springs. That's our favorite one to go to. They have a couple down in the Denver area. And so he's like, I want to get mac and cheese. I was like, okay, you can order it from there. So he ordered it. Now, I was having a hankering for something sweet. So I just skated over before I placed his order because he had to use my laptop. I skated over to the desserts on Bojo's, and they had what is called, hold please, I need to look it up here. Desserts, here we go. The chocolate chip cookie. Now,
is it as big as your head though?
So what it is, the whole batch together is, so it's basically several chocolate chip cookies together, and they bake them to the point like they are still gooey, which makes me happy. But then they drizzle on the top of them caramel and chocolate syrup.
Oh,
it is a sugar overload. It is a chocolate overload, and it made me so.
I'm the weirdo that's like, oh no, they ruined it with the caramel and the chocolate sauce. I do not like those things.
I was on, and I need to not have sugar, but I just thought,
and I know y'all always say, what do I eat? I eat all the things. I just don't eat some of these things.
That's okay. And everyone who's grossed out with Tanya, you can be.
Nobody is. I'm always that weird person.
No, but look, that's not going to be everybody's jams. And like,
the cookie part was sounding real good until it's the drizzle that I don't.
It was so delightful.
Now you make me want like a cookie. I want like a hot.
Sorry, I know that's how I roll. My cat decided to join me on this.
I do have some cookies.
Oh, do you? There you go. Now you got some.
I can have you know what? Also, I have a slice of cake in here. Even better.
You do. You should have
even better.
See, this is what I do. I make people make bad decisions. Or at least
it's not a bad decision. Okay. It was a bad decision when I bought the cake.
Now you just got to see it through to the end.
Right.
Which I did too. I saw those cookies through to the end. I was like, well, I don't want to go bad. Better eat them. But that was an easy get because I gave into my, it was an easy get. They're probably like, whatever, that took no effort on their part, but I did get got by food. And that's pretty typical. So, by the way, I'm going to announce this too. So I'll share about this next week. My family and I are going to eat at Casa Bonita tonight.
Oh,
have you heard of Casa Bonita?
I don't know, but I do. Whatever you're about to tell me you're going to order there, I do. This I eat.
So, Casa Bonita is a historical fixture in the city of Denver. Many people globally think it's fake. Because
I think we went there when we were there.
Did you go? Oh, you might have gone. You didn't go with me
because we were trying to go to all those, like that's like we stayed in that old hotel. It was the oldest hotel in Denver, and then we went. Oh, you know what? We went to the place with the
tea.
What's the word for it? The bull tapas? Parts.
Oh, you went to the fort. No, you went to Buckhorn Exchange.
I think so.
With the Rocky Mountain oysters,
right there.
Not oysters.
But this sounds like we did that too. We did a lot of eating in that.
We have a good food culture here.
Yes, I'm remembering. Yes, I'm remembering a few really good meals there now that you remind me.
Well, Casa Bonita, it's interesting you mentioned Good Meals. Casa Bonita, fixture in the Denver area, and this was up until about 5, maybe 6 years ago. It was known, you go in, it's kind of a pink stucco dome at the top. You go in, think of like if you walk, I always think of like when I'm at Disneyland or Disney World and I go into a covered or indoor line to get onto an amusement park ride where you're winding through stuff and there's kind of a aesthetic and ambiance around you, whatever. So inside it's very much replicated like a Mexican town, and so you
Yes,
go up through
we did
there.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. So you go up through there and, you wait in line or used to wait in line for a long time. And then you'd order and then they give you your food and then you go sit. But there's cliff diving and there's a mariachi band going around and there's Black Bart's Cave and there's like pinball and, things like that. So it's an experience, or it was. And so it went out of business because the food sucked. The food was the worst Mexican food you can imagine. I mean, literally you would go and you're like, okay, I know the food's going to suck, but you went anyway because it was like, yeah, but it's Casa Bonita, whatever. So it went out of business. So Trey Parker and Matt Stone are the creators of South Park. Yes. And they had made an episode years prior where Cartman wanted to go to Casa Bonita. And so that did happen. But because of that episode, many people thought, oh, that's a fictitious place. It's not. It's real. But they bought Casa Bonita and they remodeled it, remade it, spent millions upon millions of dollars on it. And for the last year, they've been doing a soft launch. And so they finally opened it up many months ago where they said, hey, put your email on this wait list. You're now in a lottery. And we'll notify you when you can purchase tickets during a certain window of dates to come and enjoy Casa Bonita. So back many months ago, I had used like 3 different emails and I signed up and never got a ticket, never got an email. I just gave up. But about 4 weeks ago, we got the email that we could book our tickets. So tonight, my family and our best friend family and my son's girlfriend are going to go, 8 of us, to Casa Bonita, and I'm going to do a TikTok video about it and everything, but I will.
That sounds like it's going to be so fun.
I think it's going to be fun. I'm sure the food will be better. It can't be worse. Well, it could be worse.
I don't remember the food there. I just remember the Rocky Mountain oyster place.
Yeah.
It was a lot of meat. That place has good food. It was a lot of meat.
Yeah. And that one is heavy. If you're a carnivore, you go to that place. Well, you do have to have a nice hefty little budget because it's not cheap. But by the way, Rocky Mountain oysters, everyone, those are buffalo testicles. So just don't be fooled. They're not actual oysters. They're deep fried buffalo testicles.
They are not.
Texture is really interesting. I did try one. I was like, okay, I tried that. But anywho, so I'm excited. That is all the time we have for this episode of the Just Trust Me podcast. Tanya, where can people find and follow you online between episodes?
I am TBBTDOUBLEB on all the places, but I tend to spend my time on Instagram. So you can probably literally find me there.
Does your intern have an Instagram?
She does. Butterbean Ballard Brown is her handle over there. I do think she has 1 or 2 fresh pieces of content. I actually feel bad because our gotcha day was last week on the 12th.
Oh.
And I had planned to, I like to do, I got my baby that day.
Yeah.
And brought her home. She was 12 weeks, little puppy.
She was a little puppy.
3 years ago. And I didn't remember until the 13th. And so, and then it felt like, so I did not post anything that day. But I am still glad that I got my fur baby puppy.
She's so cute. And we're glad you have her too, even when the intern decides to chime in and be noisy. But we love her. And y'all can find me and follow me at Rachel Has the MIC anywhere and everywhere. Follow us, this podcast, on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Just Trust Me Podcast. And anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you liked this podcast, subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you really liked it, leave us a review because that is actually good marketing. Please do it. And we'll catch you on the next episode of Just Trust Me. Bye.
Bye-bye.